Hey everybody, Jimmy Kukulski, EV Racer here. Been doing a lot of cool things around here, but today the topic of conversation is Autopilot, what it is, what it's for, what it's not for. Unfortunately, I saw a video with an ambulance chaser out there saying some things about Autopilot in an accident situation, and man, it made me mad, it made me sad, it made me frustrated, and these aren't the videos I really want to make about my favorite car in the world, but I think it's time that I said something, just because I don't really care if anybody's listening or not. It makes me feel like I'm doing my due diligence when people see me in my car at the track, and some of these videos, I have a presence in the diesel performance world, and a lot of those guys watch these videos because they're curious about the future of the performance for EV cars. So I am going to take that small platform I have and just kind of give it out there. So when I think about Autopilot and I'm in an airplane, I'm flying Delta to Australia or Italy or Amsterdam, or heck, even just to Manhattan from Grand Rapids, I don't typically see both pilots or all the pilots chilling out, taking naps. They're not all paying attention in my mind, and if there are any pilots out there, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Autopilot isn't something where you neglect the operation that you're a part of, right? When you're driving down the road, you're driving a 2-3 ton projectile at who knows what velocity. It's extremely dangerous. It carries a lot of energy itself. You're in it, your family's in it, my dogs are in it, right, Terry? You're in there, right? Right? That's right. Terry loves rides in there. So anyway, there's a lot that can go wrong. I always appreciated Finland and it taking a year and a half, 2 years to get your driver's license in Finland. There used to be a saying in racing: if you wanted to win, you hired a Finn, right? One of the reasons why they put you on skid pads, they put you through all kinds of crazy tests for you to be able to get your license just to drive in Finland. So, I always had a lot of respect for not just the Finnish drivers, but the Finnish culture, to respect what it is to have an automobile. There's a ton of responsibility when you're driving any car. If it's that 8,500 pound diesel truck back there, my Polaris Razor, my wife's Ford Escape, whatever it is, you have a tremendous responsibility that you're undertaking driving any vehicle, any car. You're taking yours and other people's lives into your hands when you get on the road. And my dogs, which is really important to me. So to me, when you have that kind of a responsibility, neglecting that responsibility, regardless of the amount of technology involved, is negligent. You should not completely neglect the car for any amount of time, really. We all take we're human, even without technology helping us. A lot of times we are looking at our phones, or we're talking to somebody in the passenger seat, or we see something going on. I think that this is the bandwidth that Autopilot helps us overcome as humans. Autopilot in the Tesla anyway. And why I say that is, when an airplane is being flown by a pilot, 2-3 pilots, they let Autopilot do the minutia, right? The minutia of keeping the plane where it's supposed to be on 3 different axes and in the right direction against winds or whatever. Autopilot in a Tesla really doesn't do much different than that, right? It is handling the minutia for you. It is handling the things that are really tedious, like keeping the car between 2 lanes in regular driving situations over long distances, or keeping a certain speed, or keeping a certain distance between you and the person behind you. It has some accident help, right? This F-250 back here has braking. So if I'm in a situation where the cameras in the truck and the radar see me having to possibly stop quick, actually preps the brakes. The Tesla does a similar thing, right? Everything is kind of helping. It's a driver assisting system. It is not something that takes over all of your responsibilities, especially when there's so much at stake when you're behind the wheel. So I just want to make sure I clarify for a lot of people, like autopilot sounds like, we've all probably heard that story of the guy who got cruise control in his brand new RV and then set cruise and then went back and made a sandwich in his RV and crashed it. I don't know if that story is true or not, but it's comical to a degree, but sad. People seem to think that when you say cruise control, and that may have been the case in the 70s when cruise control first came out, autopilot is now in the same place cruise control was. You can't, it's an assist. It is something to help you be more responsible behind the wheel. It's not something for you to take the responsibility away. Have I abused that personally? I have. I do less and less, and I'll tell you in a minute exactly the psychology that I'm trying to adopt while I'm driving my Tesla and my Super Duty, which has adaptive cruise control. But first I want to talk about some of the problems with other cars that I've had. I don't want this video to go over 10 minutes, so I'm gonna try and make this quick. Previous vehicle to this, I've had a couple of really fast diesel trucks, but I also had a really nice, beautiful 15 F-150. The first aluminum version of that truck. It also had the first adaptive cruise in an F-150, and I loved it. It was fantastic. It had some lane keeping capabilities, basically like pinball between the two lines and then freak out after a certain amount of time, I didn't really take advantage of that. It was a little bit annoying, so I turned that off, but the adaptive cruise was fantastic until I was passing a semi with a certain amount of light outside. If the sun was at a certain angle, this thing freaked out, slammed on the brakes on the highway. I bet you it did to me 5 or 6 times. It got so common that I actually started turning it off when I would come up on a semi on a 4-lane highway, because I was not gonna have the guy behind me smoke my rear bumper because I was slamming on the brakes. Because in the end, it is me slamming on the brakes. The truck might do it, but in all intents and purposes, I'm in control in that cockpit. I made the choice that truck was gonna stay in autopilot when it's going past there. I took responsibility, kick autopilot off. I'll be honest, the first few times I passed semis when I got this truck, which the technology is not that much different in it, I turned it off, and then eventually I got, Ford solved the problem of the ghost semi or the ghost braking or whatever it is. And I don't have any problem anymore. I really love the adaptive cruise in my F-250. I've had a couple of instances where somebody would come over in front of a semi in a 3, 4, 5, 6 lane, one side of the highway, and the truck saw it, pre-braked. As soon as I caught it in my peripheral, I hit the brakes. I actually had my dog come from the back seat into the windshield one time because of that. But it saved us from hitting the guy, and the technology works really good, but it's not autonomous. The truck would not probably have stopped in time if I hadn't intervened into that situation. Now, what am I doing, or what do I think personally autopilot should be used for? I think you should look at it as it's handling the minutia. It's handling the tedious tasks of driving so that you can elevate your driving game, okay? So there's a delta. They're the best drivers in the world, the Finns, the Lewis Hamiltons, the Max Verstappen. Race starts in a few minutes. Go Max. He got his first pole ever today in Hungary, and hopefully he does a great job. I'll be watching that as soon as I get off this video. But, and then you've got the worst drivers.